In the last class, we have studied up to the types and classification of the amino acid. Today, we will be first starting with the linking of the amino acid. To explain you about the linking of the amino acid, I like to mention that we said that proteins are the macromolecule which are basically made out of the amino acids, and amino acids are called to be the building blocks of the protein. That means to form a protein, the amino acids has to get jointed with each other to form a protein. But how amino acids is to get jointed? You know, this is nothing complicated. I have drawn the two adjacent amino acids. Every amino acid is having with a centrally located carbon atom called as the alpha carbon atom. In one side there will be the carboxyl group. In one side there will be the side chain or the radical. In one side there will be the NH2, and in one side there will be the hydrogen. Okay, so same here in that amino acid also. Now, in one amino acid, that means the amino group of one amino acid react with the carboxyl group of the another amino acid. The amino group of one amino acid react with the carboxyl group of the another amino acid, and thereby, okay, these two form, say, you can see here the COOH, the OH hydroxyl group of the carboxyl group, and the H of the NH2, they unite. So what happens? If they unite, it results into the formation of the H2O. That means one molecule of the water used to get lost. So try to understand. Okay, the carboxyl group of one amino acid react with the amino group of the another amino acid, and one molecule of the water used to get lost, and as a result of that, these two amino acids used to get jointed with each other by forming a bond. You can see here one water molecule has got released, and because of the release of this water molecule, there will be the formation of a bond. You can see here there will be the formation of a bond, and this bond is called as the peptide bond. Now this bond will be called to be as the peptide bond, and in this way a number of the amino acid is to get jointed with each other, forming the several numbers of the peptide bonds, and that's why the protein molecules are also called as a polypeptide, because in a protein molecule to join many number of the amino acid, एक प्रोटीन में काफी सारे amino acids को join करने के लिए काफी सारा peptide bonds are needed, and therefore this will be called to be as the protein molecules are called to be as the polypeptide. The protein molecules are called to be as the polypeptide. As we can understand, this particularly the protein molecule is being formed with the help of the many number of the amino acid, but the amino acids are getting jointed with each other by means of the peptide bond. So the protein molecules are also called as the polypeptide. Protein molecule को हम polypeptide भी कह सकते हैं. Is it clear? Now there are the dipeptides, double peptide bond, tripeptide, triple peptide bond, tetrapeptide, and macropeptide, and even the protein molecules are also called as the polypeptide over here. Is it clear? Now we have to go to the function of the amino acids. But before going to function of the amino acid, once again I like to mention there are the two different type of the amino acid. One is called as the D-amino acid. One is called as the D-amino acid, and one is called as the L-amino acid. Okay, L-amino acid. Here I will like to mention, okay, the D-amino acid and the L-amino acid. What do you mean by the D-amino acid or the dextrorotatory amino acid? D-amino acid means the dextrorotatory amino acid. The dextrorotatory amino acid. Try to understand. So first, you know, depending on the optical property of the amino acid, the amino acid can be basically divided into the two different types. One is called as the dextrorotatory amino acid, and one is called as the levorotatory amino acid. So what is dextrorotatory amino acid? The amino acid in which the amino group is situated in the right hand side. The amino acid in which the amino group is situated towards the right side, towards the right side. The amino group is situated towards the right side. So whenever an unidirectional polarized light, an unidirectional polarized beam of light will fall onto this amino acid. Whenever जब भी कोई एक यूनिडिरेक्शनल पोलराइज्ड बीम ऑफ लाइट इस अमीनो एसिड के ऊपर पड़ेगा, so the plane of polarized light will be rotated towards the right, will be rotated towards the right. I repeat, those amino acid in which the amino group is situated in the right side of the amino acid, whenever any beam of light will fall on them, the unidirectional beam of light, unidirectional beam of polarized light will fall on them, it will rotate the plane of polarized light towards the right, and these type of the amino acids are called to be as the dextrorotatory amino acid. That will be called as the dextrorotatory amino acid. Now another amino acid which is called as the levorotatory, okay, levorotatory amino acid. There are some amino acids which are called as the dextrorotatory and some amino acids are called as the levorotatory amino acid. What is that? It is not there into the notes, so you have to copy it and you have to learn it. Later on, don't ask me, sir, it is not there in the notes, what to do. With those amino acids in which the amino group is situated towards the those amino acids in which the amino group is situated towards the left side. जो amino acid में amino group left side में होता है, जब भी कोई plane of polarized light will fall into that amino acid, the plane of polarized light will be rotated towards the left. The plane of polarized light will be rotated towards the left, and that type of the amino acids are called as the levorotatory amino acid. उस amino acid को levorotatory amino acid कहा जाता है. Clear? Now we will discuss about the functions of the amino acid. We will discuss about the functions of the amino acid. Is it clear? So functions of the amino acid क्या है? जैसे कि तुम्हें पता है, प्रोटीन जो हमारे जिंदगी के लिए, हमारे स्ट्रक्चर एंड फंक्शन के लिए जो अहम चीज है, they are basically made out of the amino acid. Amino acids are the building blocks of the protein and they join with each other to form the macromolecules of the protein. So protein बनाना amino acid का सबसे पहला काम है. Number 2, tyrosine is an amino acid. Is it clear? Tyrosine is an amino acid which forms the hormone thyroxine and adrenaline. हमारे शरीर के दो अहम हार्मोन, one is the thyroxine and thyroid hormone and one is the adrenaline hormone. These two hormones are mainly made out from the tyrosine amino acid. Is it clear? Number 3, tyrosine, the same amino acid, is also responsible to take part in the formation of the skin pigment melanin. हमारे स्किन के नीचे एक पिगमेंट रंजक पड़ा तो कलर्ड सब्सटेंस है जिसको मेलानिन कहा जाता है, जो हमें प्रोटेक्ट करता है फ्रॉम द हार्मफुल रेज ऑफ द सन. हार्मफुल अल्ट्रावायलेट रे से हमें प्रोटेक्ट करता है, वो शरीर के अंदर नहीं घुसने देता वो हार्मफुल रेज. एंड दैट टाइरोसिन इज एक्चुअली टेकिंग पार्ट इन द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द मेलानिन पिगमेंट. इज इट क्लियर? Number 2, glycine. ये भी एक amino acid है which can convert itself into the heme, okay, of the hemoglobin. Glycine can convert itself into the heme of the hemoglobin. Okay. Number 5, tryptophan. Tryptophan is another amino acid which takes part in the formation of the vitamin nicotinamide. Vitamin nicotinamide is an important vitamin which also takes part into the cellular respiration, and that vitamin, वो vitamin nicotinamide, वो tryptophan से formation होता है. Tryptophan is an amino acid. Is it clear? Next, the tryptophan, it is also the precursor molecule of the indole 3 acetic acid. Indole 3 acetic acid, IAA. तुमने क्लास 10 में okay auxin growth hormone पढ़ा है. Indole 3 acetic acid, a type of auxin growth hormone, and this indole 3 acetic acid is actually being formed from the tryptophan amino acid. So this tryptophan amino acid is also the precursor, means starting molecule for the formation of indole 3 acetic acid. Clear? Now we will start with the protein. We will start with the protein. Is it clear? So सबसे पहले I would like to mention the word protein was actually coined by Jones J. Berzelius. Jones J. Berzelius first coined the term protein from the Greek word proteos, which means, or the Greek word proteos ka matlab, the Greek word proteos means the first rank or the first order of Bull number. Is it clear? Proteins को कहा जाता है, proteins are the most complex as well as the most important organic compounds, okay, of the food, and that is found into the living organism. Is it clear? This protein is an essential component of the protoplasm of the cell. हमारे सेल के प्रोटोप्लाज्म के एक एसेंशियल कंपोनेंट भी प्रोटीन है, एंड इवन टोटल सेल में जो भी जितना भी चीज है उसका 12% is actually made out of the protein. And this term protein was actually coined by Jones J. Berzelius in the year 1838 from the Greek word proteos, which means the first rank or the first order. क्यों? Because protein occupies the most important, the vital, the key position of the living world. हमारे शरीर के जितना भी स्ट्रक्चर है, जितना भी फंक्शन है, everything is being decided by or is being formed by the protein. मेरा कद कितना लंबा होगा, मैं देखने में कैसा होगा, what will be my skin color, what will be my intelligent quotient, मैं क्या खाना पसंद करूंगा, everything will be decided by the protein present in our body. Is it clear? So protein can be said to be as one of the most important component of all the living organisms. Proteins को हम ऐसे भी define कर सकते हैं. The proteins can be defined as a class of organic compounds. The proteins can be defined as a class of organic compounds which are basically made out of the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. Basically made out of the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. Okay? और एक प्रोटीन को जैसे तोड़ोगे, इसमें से कंपोनेंट क्या आएगा? The amino acid, because amino acids are the basic building blocks of the protein. Now, if you have understood about the introduction of the protein, we will come to the composition of protein. Now we are coming to the composition of the protein. Is it clear? Composition of the protein. As you know, amino acids are the building blocks of the protein, and therefore this protein, amino acid, protein का main basic building block. एक प्रोटीन अमीनो एसिड से बनाया जाता है, एंड ये प्रोटीन नाइट्रोजनस कंपाउंड है क्योंकि प्रोटीन में अमीनो एसिड है, और आपने देखा है अमीनो एसिड में अमीनो ग्रुप है जिसमें N नाइट्रोजन है. प्रोटीन्स आर नाइट्रोजनस organic compound and basically made out of the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. Okay, कुछ हद तक कुछ प्रोटीन में सल्फर भी होता है, तो कुछ में फास्फोरस, आयोडीन, आयरन, कॉपर भी हो सकता है. But basically there will be the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen is essentially present over there. Now we will talk about now I will, if I am not going very fast, now I will start with the chemical structure. I will start with the chemical structure of protein. We will start with the chemical structure of the protein. Okay, I'm going to start with the chemical structure of the protein. As you know, proteins are not only the most important, it is also the most complex organic compound present in our body. It is the most complex organic material present in our body. It is a macromolecule. It has the higher molecular weight and is basically made out of the amino acid. The structure of the protein, though the protein was coined by Jones J. Berzelius, but the structure of the protein was first described by the scientist who was actually a biochemist, Sir Emil Fischer. Sir Emil Fischer, he was a German biochemist. Emil Fischer, okay, the German biochemist whose name was Emil Fischer, he for the first time, okay, in the year 1900 gave out the structure of the protein. and all proteins, whatever may be the protein. याद है तुम्हें हम लोग लास्ट स्लाइड में सीखा था कि जैसे कि चॉकलेट, बॉक्स, others, they are all protein, but basically all are made out of the alphabets in the different permutations and combination. So proteins are the organic compounds which are basically made out of the amino acid, where the amino acid used to get jointed with each other and thus forms the long chain of the protein. So हम amino acids को प्रोटीन का बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक्स भी कह सकते हैं. जैसे कि इस बोर्ड में आपने अभी अभी देखा, in a protein the amino acid, the adjacent amino acid used to get bonded with each other by means of a bond called as the peptide bond over there. The bond between the two adjacent amino acid is called as the peptide bond. Okay, देखो अगर दो amino acid bonded हुआ with the help of one bond, अगर तुम नहीं देख रहे हो मैं थोड़ा नीचे लिखता हूँ so that you can see over here. Okay, you can see if the two amino acids used to get bonded together, okay, with a single peptide bond, then it will be called to be as the dipeptide. Then this product will be called as the dipeptide. So हम जब dipeptide कहेंगे, tripeptide कहेंगे, याद रखना it is indicating not about the peptide bond, rather the number of amino acid and thus the total product. Dipeptide में दो amino acid is to get bonded with a single peptide bond over there. अगर तीन amino acid unite होता है with the help of the two peptide bond, then it will be called as a tripeptide. Okay, tetrapeptide, pentapeptide, hexapeptide, heptapeptide, and even there will be the polypeptide. Proteins are actually called as the polypeptide because many more amino acid used to get jointed. Many more amino acid used to get jointed with each other to form the complex structure of the protein, and therefore the proteins are also called to be as the polypeptide. Okay, देखो proteins गुलो जे कोनो protein बनाना है with the help of the sequential arrangement of the amino acids. Is it clear? The different amino acids used to get combined in different permutations and combinations to form the peptide. এখন দেখো আজকে যদি আমি if I write down the word like box, I am using the alphabets जिसको तुम amino acid समझो, I am using this in a definite proportion. लेकिन जब हम मतलब मान लो 4 लिखेंगे, 4 उसमें हम वही अल्फाबेट्स को 26 वाले अल्फाबेट्स के लिस्ट अल्फाबेट्स की यूज करेंगे, बट नॉट इन द सेम सीक्वेंस. मेरा मतलब है हर एक प्रोटीन में amino acids को यूज किया जाता है in a specific permutations and combination, but the sequence of the amino acid in the different proteins are not same. लेकिन एक प्रोटीन में उसका amino acids का sequential arrangement is very strictly maintained over there. That means बॉक्स लिखने के लिए मुझे पहले B लिखना पड़ेगा, इसके बाद O लिखना पड़ेगा, इसके बाद X लिखना पड़ेगा. अगर मैं किसी को उल्टा पुल्टा किया, the total structure and function of the protein will also get changed. That means in every protein the sequence of amino acid is 100% conserved, and if any structure and function if any sequence is to get changed, then the total structure and function of the protein will also get changed. मान लो ये जो बॉक्स है ना प्रोटीन, मान लो हमारे शरीर में एक प्रोटीन है जिसका नाम है बॉक्स. अभी दिस बॉक्स इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर फॉर्मिंग द, ओके लेट अस इमेजिन दिस बॉक्स प्रोटीन तुम्हारे शरीर में तुम्हें एक लंबा सा ऐसे नोज देता है. This box protein is responsible for forming a long nose of your body. Is it a sharp nose of your body? Now, if somehow it is to get changed, let us imagine ये हो गया ऐसे, या तो गायब हो गया कोई, या तो नया कोई जुड़ गया, इसमें कोई भी sequential element change होता है. So it is no more a box protein, no more be responsible for forming the sharp nose. Now it may be responsible for forming the 2 horns on your head, or maybe tails on your body, or maybe something else. That means ये हमको पता चला कि एक प्रोटीन में amino acid का sequential arrangement is must, and if any changes occur, then the total structure and function of the protein will get changed. Now we will study about the properties of the protein. Now we will study about the properties of the protein.